You ever wonder what's behind the attraction at Disney parks? Where does that magic come from? From the 1950s to today, from Jungle Cruise to It's a Small World, Disney parks attractions have amazed millions. How did they do that? Well, today I've got Disney Imagineer Jeanette Lomboy and series director and executive producer Brian Volkowitz. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to begin with you, Jeanette, because I'm sure everybody's curious. We know what an executive producer is and a director. What's an Imagineer?
We Imagineers are simply tasked to make the magic, and that means all kinds of things. And there's actually hundreds of different disciplines that make up Imagineering. But really, simply, it's everything from writers and creative artists and engineers and even accountants, right? It's everybody and everything that goes into making the attractions that you see in our parks and our cruise ships and our resorts worldwide.
What would you say someone would need as a background to be an Imagineer?
I think you need to have curiosity. I think you need to be interested in the world at large. And I think you also have to believe in a little bit of magic, right? All of these things come together. And by the way, there are thousands of Imagineers, and we all come from different disciplines and we all have different interests. And I think when you put that all together, that's how we can make the kind of magic that appeals to all of our guests worldwide. So have the imagination and curiosity, and you're already equipped and halfway there.
Wow. And then to put everything together, Brian, you're the executive producer and series director. How do you put all this together?
Very carefully. Very, very carefully. I mean, it really was as cliche as it sounds. I mean, it was a treasure trove of riches in addition to everything we shot. And, you know, we shot thousands and thousands and thousands of hours worldwide. But on top of that, we also had access to all the archives. I think Disney conservatively has 4 or 5 archives. So we had access to everything. And, you know, what we tried to do as much as we could, and I'm already starting to read about people noticing it, so I'm very happy about that. But one of the beautiful things about Disney's archive is they track everything as it relates to usage. So we would see a file with, let's say, 100 options, and every option, it would show you where that footage had been used before. Same thing for still images. So we tried very, very hard to use footage or stills that had either never been seen or hadn't been seen in decades or whatnot. So that was the one thing we tried to do to deal with all the amazing stuff that we were handed.
Brian, it almost sounds like no matter how old you are, you still have a little bit of a kid in you with an imagination to help bring this all together. Is that about right?
I would say if you ask anyone that knows me, especially my wife, I definitely have some kid in me. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I got stuck at like 21. Like I feel 21-ish. Was that a kid? Like I'm not 8, but I'm not 45 either.
I can imagine. Now, Jeanette, I mean, Imagineer. I mean, you gotta love what you do.
I absolutely would love what I do. In fact, when I was a little girl, I thought I wanted to be a ride operator at Disneyland, which I ended up becoming right after high school. But when I was in high school, I realized I want to be the person that actually designs these attractions and makes these for people around the world. And it's really humbling to be doing that so many years later. I mean, we're very lucky and fortunate to have the jobs that we have. I mean, who gets to make magic every day like we make it?
Yeah, it is. Not a lot of people get a chance to actually do something like that. How long have you been at Disney from actually being somebody who's working a ride to today? How long have you been there?
I started in 1995 as a Fantasyland ride operator and attractions hostess for Storybook Land. And actually, that was the year that Jungle Cruise had started. They added in female skippers, and there were men that started on Storybook Land. So I've always been on the wave of change and as things have evolved. And so I've been very fortunate to see through the decades just how we've done that and how magic evolves as we continue to tell stories.
Okay, so I've got to ask both of you this, and if you've had something to do with it, I would love to hear about it. What can we expect from the new Disney movie Jungle Cruise?
I think you're going to find a lot of fun. And in fact, we had a lot of fun, cross tying some Easter eggs in the new Jungle Cruise attraction that opened at Disneyland just before our 66th anniversary this last Friday. We had lots of conversations with Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, and the filmmakers as well. And I think what you'll find is their movie was inspired by our attraction, but we certainly do reference it throughout the attraction as well. So be on the lookout if you're down at Disneyland Park or Magic Kingdom once that attraction opens there.
And I'm proud to report I had absolutely nothing to do with the movie, so it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah, but the very first episode of Behind the Attraction is Jungle Cruise. For that reason, I know that we open the movie on July 30th, which is in just a few days.
Yeah, yes, it is. Jeanette, Brian, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend. And please, thank you so much for keeping the kid in all of us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.